So let's see if I can film this way. I hope the light is okay. But yeah, this is the life that I'm currently entrusted with these ordeal that I'm dealing with. I guess a lot of you have heard about the term gangstalking. I actually recently connected the dots and found out that I am actually being gang stalked because I think for 4.5 years I believed that I was being stalked by a psychotic psychopath male who I don't know. I believed he was a neighbor working for a company. But then I started doing research where it started, why it started. I was renting this property from this property management agency in the UK, and I digged into who the owners were because there were some incident that happened at the company. I put on a really bad review on Google with receipts, and I believe the company had a fallout with not being able to rent their property out for at least 3 months. And then eventually they had to delete their whole Google page before they were back in the market. And I believe that this is the reason that I have been targeted. And one of the shareholders of this company is somebody who comes from blue blood, as they say, old money, blue blood background. They have one of the oldest hotels business in the world. I'm not going to name the name, but if I say it, one of the oldest hotel empires in the world started off in America. Two families coming together. You should be able to connect the dots. And that's the person. And they have a Viscount title in the UK, which is permanent. I didn't even know about this whole Viscount and royalty titles of the British Parliament or government. So they have a permanent seat, and it is something that you inherit. So that means if that the old generation died, the dad I think is currently the holder with the permanent seat as a member of parliament. And if he dies, then it goes to his son, his first son. And that's the son that is the owner of this company that I believe that is the original instigator of targeting me. And due to this is where my life is right now. So I have been made homeless. I have been without a home since last year, October. I was renting a place in Belgium, in Antwerp, and the only reason is because, okay, so let's go back. I was living in the UK for around 14 years, and then, but before that, I grew up in the Netherlands. I'm originally from the Netherlands. My accent has changed, but I think somehow, you can still detect a bit of Dutch accent. But then I moved to the UK due to employment. My company or my employer moved me to the UK and other parts of Europe, and so I was basically an expat, and I did that for around 14 years until this whole ordeal started 5 years ago. And since then, my life has changed completely. And it gradually, I think it was a gradual process. They stalk me a bit, and they will come into my flat. They will do some nasty things to you. You know, it's like somebody who likes you that they are trying to get attention. So at that stage, I think I was more worried about being hacked, as I had a company and I wasn't able to work on my company, which was my baby. It's something I dedicated 10 years of sweat, tears, frustration, anger, excitement, every emotion that you can think of. I invested in that company, and it was named after my mother and father. So I had like a real passion for it because it was something that I was building as a legacy for my parents. And for this group of people to just take it away, that hurts a lot. But I guess God allowed it in my life because somebody actually, no, an ex-boyfriend made the comment like, Linda, that's me, you don't care about anything else in the world apart from Janet and George. That was my company. And I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, you're actually right. That's true. Because this is my baby. I have literally built it from the ground up. I don't have kids. So this was my baby. It was my baby. And he was right. That was all that I care for. And God. Um, but yeah, I lived and breathed Janet and George. That was me. That was my company. Even if you ask my former colleagues, they will say, no, she was passionate about her business. So yeah, then after the hacking, obviously other things started, and then eventually, I think in 2021, end of October, I decided to come to the Netherlands and see if things would change and that my life will get back to normal. But unfortunately, it didn't. They followed me to the Netherlands, and the same thing happened, coming into my place, living above me, anything else. I have another video that I did yesterday because I was so angry. I will post that as well. So check that one out, as that will have also explanation of everything that had been going on. And yeah, so yeah, it followed me and the same tactics. And I felt like in the Netherlands it was okay, but you know what it is? This whole situation, when somebody's targeting you and they follow you everywhere you go, you tend to stop living. And that's what I did. Before this, I had like dates. I would date guys. I have been single for 5 years now. And occasionally you will meet people, through network, you will meet people who you can consider as friends. But now I can't date. I can't build, well, I'm saying can't, maybe that's not the right word, but I feel as if I am unable to build relationships that will be based on mutual trust with both men and women. Because right now in my life, I have noticed even people that I knew before this whole thing started, that they are not who they say they were. They have been compromised, they have been corrupted to partake in this evil, evil program that I've been put in. And because of that, I don't trust anyone. And I don't trust them. And it's actually, I think it has gotten worse because I was always the kind of person not to trust people because of past history experiences that I've been through in my life. In psychological terms, I think they say I am avoidant, fearful, attachment style. So my character basically doesn't trust easily. But because of this ordeal, I do not trust anyone anymore. And due to that, I can't make friends. I can't be friends with anyone. If people come through in my life, I can literally see after a week or so, I can see the signs in them that they have been compromised, that they start behaving differently. And because of that, I don't get attached to anyone. I can't even get attached if I wanted to. And yeah, so life is lonely. And because also my mother died and my father died when I was very young, but my mother died, that was actually the main reason I left the Netherlands. And after she died, she and my grandmother died actually within a year apart. And they were the cornerstone of my family, I've noticed. Since both of them left, my family has ended. And I come from an African family, which my mother had like 16 siblings. So can you imagine a big family that I come from? But in Europe, I guess we are just a few. I'm an immigrant child. So you do not have as many relatives as you will have living in Africa or being part of an African community. Um, I grew up in predominantly, no, not predominantly. I grew up in a only white town in the Netherlands. My mother and I were the only foreigners. Maybe right now, since we are in a new era, things will have changed, but I don't think there are still a lot of foreigners. It was just predominantly white people and my mother and I, and then later on my sister. So that's the environment I grew up in. And yeah, so I don't have any family members, people that I would consider like family, that I think that they will be there for me, because every one of them, the ones that I've reached out to, I've noticed that they have been compromised. And that is unfortunate. Because of that, it's like you have to distance yourself from them. And that makes life actually more lonelier than it should be. So I am literally walking in this world alone. At times I feel like I'm invisible, as if you do not. And also, this whole program is actually making me feel unwanted everywhere I go. And I am okay with it, because I've never been the kind of person to be surrounded by a lot of people. I was always one to have like one really good friend. That's me. My sister is the opposite. I am like, I have few friends. I focus on quality rather than quantity, because I need to have that trust. If I don't have that trust, we cannot be friends. But in general, I can easily connect with people. I am not like a social awkward person. I consider myself an introvert, but somehow I'm also not, if I have to. Um, so it's not as if, oh, she's so awkward, she can't make friends, she was an Einzelganger in school. No. If I want, I can steer up the whole school behind me to do something. So that's not me. So it's just this program that has made life like this. And before that, I chose, since I was so obsessed with my business, all I was doing was literally working and not focusing on building relationship. So for the young generations, if you are out there, relationship, the right networks really matter. Try to focus in your early 20s. I would definitely advise you to focus on building lasting relationship. And I have been the type, I easily burn all the bridges, especially if I see like some characteristics in people that I do not like and I don't think that they are sincere. Then I just close the door behind me and never look back. Um, but yeah, the few people that were good, maybe I should have made more effort to kind of build a relationship. So that's why I'm saying, like, if you have good people around you, try to stay connected, because at the end of the day, when something like this happen, you actually need your network, um, and also money. If I had money, this would not be happening to me. So that's it. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what this vlog is going to be about. I want to try to keep it short, but there is a lot going on. So, life in a hotel. Today is like my acceptance, because I came here, back to Belgium again. I, no, I went to the UK, back again. I don't know how many times I've left the UK. I've left London like so many times. I think I left London in 2019. got back at end of 2019, and then I got this whole stalking started, and then I left London again in 2021, and then I went back. When did I go back again? Last year. So 2023, last year, December. I've tried to live in Africa. Yeah, I lived like 9 months in Ghana. Ghana is not easy. You need, like, especially in how I am as a person, I need currency, a lot of currency to be able to cope there. Or at least if you have like a place to stay which is up to par with your standards, that's all you need. Have a place to stay, and then you can literally build something, because the biggest cost in Ghana is housing. If you have that sorted, you are good to go. And I wish I had that sorted. I would not be living in Europe. Maybe I will have like a vacation house in Europe, but I will want to spend the rest of my life in Africa and die in Africa. Um, but yeah, the story has changed. So I am now back again in this part of continental Europe. I tried to live in the Netherlands. I lived in the Netherlands for a year, in my own apartment and in Amsterdam, which was actually really good. And back then I was working. I think I was then working for IBM and another company. But eventually, I left that place because I was being targeted by these people again. And it got to a point whereby you know what it is? You get so frustrated because at one point, all you see is people are targeting you. They are coming into your space, and it was so ridiculous that I didn't feel safe anymore. If I slept in my bedroom, I have to block the door with heavy luggages. I have to make sure that nobody can enter. But somehow, I don't know how they are doing it. Still, they manage to come in while I'm sleeping. A couple of times I woke up with like this alcohol scent in your mouth. Like, you wake up and you feel as if you drank the night before heavy alcohol. And I didn't get it until recently something happened and I researched about it, like drugs that people use, or hypno and all those types. And the after effect is that you get woozy when you wake up, like you have like heavy alcohol taste in your mouth. And so now I'm kind of connecting all the dots. So I don't know how they were doing it. I think either poisoning the food that I had, which is in the fridge, like milk. They can put something in. I drink a lot of water. They can put something in your water and you drink, and then you pass out. So if anything happens, and these people, they are so skilled in illegal entry. They're skilled, I don't know. So they will come in, you know, and things might happen to me while I'm sleeping without having any awareness. So this is what was panicking. I was panicking, and the idea that somebody was doing something to me while I was sleeping, awful. And that's why I left that place in Amsterdam. And then after that, I tried to get a new place, and I am sure they were trying to sabotage me. I couldn't get anyone to rent out to me. I couldn't get anyone. I tried for months until I got to Belgium, to Antwerp, in I think February 2023. And then I found a place. I moved in April. So February 2023, I get to Antwerp and without a home, and I was still working full time back then. And so I was staying in hotels, and this is why I was also staying in this place, the the city box. And until I was able to get a place to rent April 2023. But soon, the place that I rented was an empty building. It was just delivered. And the first thing, you know how things happen in your life and you always get warnings, like red flags, you know? I didn't pay attention to it. The place was recently delivered, but it was not really finished. The hallway, like the staircase, was still not done. You know how they put cement, and then after the cement they plaster the walls. And I saw that the building was not completely finished, but the apartment that I was interested in to rent, or that was advertised for rent, was finished. And there were just a handful of people living in this apartment. I think it was like 6 floors, and it has, I don't know how many units were in there, but just I thought it was so weird. That was the first sign that I got from that place. And the second sign that I got was, once I had a viewing, and then it was actually my third choice. All the rest that I wanted, they rejected me, every single one of them. And I have to say, the market here in Belgium is very tough. I've lived in Belgium before, so I know that they are very racist. Guys, it's just fact. It's not, I am being too sensitive. It's fact. I have had landlords personally tell me in my face, and this was like a French, I wanted to curse him out. A French person in, a French Belgian person in Brussels, who told me he doesn't want to rent out his place to black people. He told me flat in my face, and I was so flabbergasted that I told him, okay, I respect that. That's your opinion. It's your house, and you can decide who you want to rent out to. That's your right. I didn't make a fuss about it and just left, you know. So that's the kind of environment it is. But in terms of renting a property here in comparison to the Netherlands, their properties are much nicer, like 10 times nicer than what you will get in Belgium, in the Netherlands. And the prices are decent. It's not too expensive. It's not, I mean, Netherlands is still just below London, but I think Amsterdam is getting to London standards right now in terms of pricing. Um, but here you can still get like reasonable priced places to rent. And that's the only reason why I actually consider Belgium, because I love the buildings here. If you ever get to Brussels, just look at the buildings. The outside sometimes look trash, but if you get inside, it's just like wow. So I've always loved that about Belgium. And Antwerp has renovated a lot. Like it's such a nice city. I think if it wasn't for the experience that I was going through, I love Antwerp. It's like an amazing city in general. People are very friendly. But because of the targeted stalking, I believe that these people go around spreading lies about me, rumors. Maybe they are telling them that I am a criminal, that I have committed a crime. Mind you, I've never committed a crime in my life. And that they are maybe pretending to be, not even pretending, because I feel like this person is connected to government or connected to old money, so he has like connections, and because of that he gets to pull all of this off. So whatever it is they are doing, it's working because a lot of people are doing the dirty work for them, following me around, sabotaging me and stuff, you know, just the ordinary things that annoys a human being. And especially if you have experienced it for 5 years in a row, it's annoying. And people will tell you, just ignore it, just ignore it. No, it doesn't work that way. I wish I could ignore it. At times I am capable, but then at times it's like it gets too much. Right now I'm thinking about it and I'm getting like tension headache. So that's how far it has come. But yeah, so other than that, I think this is like one of the better cities. I prefer this city after living in London than Amsterdam even. Amsterdam is cute, but it doesn't compare to the quality that you get here. Um, and also, there are more black people here. I feel more comfortable in places where there are more black people. I don't know why, but it makes life more like, I exist in that society, or my kind exists in that society. And I don't feel that same way in the Netherlands. So I actually prefer to live, not Belgium, Antwerp, to live in Antwerp. I think in Belgium and Brussels you have more black people, but I hate that city. Brussels is disgusting. It's too dirty for me. Um, so yeah, and that is the main reason why I came back here again. So I was saying that I got that place in April 2023. Mind you, I found out a week later that these gang stalkers, these people who are targeting me, were in that building. So my floor, I lived on the fourth floor, and I think how many? One, two, three, four flats, four apartments on that floor, and they were all empty. Apart from me, I was the first tenant on the fourth floor. Next to me, I think 2 days after I moved in, and a Canadian guy was moving in. And I was like, oh, are you my new neighbor? Because I used to be the kind of person who engaged with her neighbors. Like when I was living in the Netherlands, I lived at my flat for like 10 years all by myself. And I knew all my neighbors, they knew me. We had each other's numbers. Things have changed right now. So I was excited to like, oh, that is so nice. And it's a new building. So maybe we can be neighbor friends. And he was telling me, yeah, he got an opportunity because he was living in Leuven for the Dutch people, but I pronounce it Leuven. And he got this opportunity to move into that building for a job. And said, oh, that is exciting. Um, so later on, I found out that he was one of them. Mind you, another guy came in that same apartment. None of them work. Like everybody is always at home when I am home. It was just so weird. I've never encountered that. It's like all of a sudden everybody works from home. No, I happen to work for these amazing companies who allow their employees to work from home, but I didn't know regular Joes to work from home. And that was already like a red flag. And then when I was signing the contract, another red flag that I ignored was the fake name, the kind of like made up name. The building had a particular name, and the contract owners, the so-called landlords, according to the agency, had the name of the building, but then a slight twist, like maybe instead of an A, it's an E. The building is called Kempenberg, then he will be Kempenberg with an A, for example. And his birthday is like something from me, like my birthday or my birth month. He grew up in the town that I lived as a kid. Like elements of my life were constructed to create a persona. And that was the red flag. And the girl was his so-called wife. Oh yeah, that was it. Also, like, they were both working for an NGO, and this NGO was based in Lagos, Nigeria, Africa. I mean, how many? This guy was supposed to be, the landlord was supposed to be Dutch, Belgium. So apparently he grew up in the town that I used to live as a kid. That was where he was born. But he's Belgium, you know? It can happen, but there were too many coincidences with my life. So I knew it was not real. It was not real. So I felt like that building, they either bought it or they had, like, taken over a couple of apartments to just what's the right word, to advance their torture techniques, to be able to study me more 24/7, you know? Because once I arrived in that apartment, I could see that things were like painting a new building. Everything is painted, but you could see that fresh painted areas. New coat has been brought on, but not the whole area. Um, like, the stucking of the wall was not as smooth as it should be with other parts of the building. So I could see that, no, this is a flat that actually they have done work to be able to spy on me, to do whatever experimentation they are doing on me. And that was the main goal, that I got that place. And once I found out about it, and obviously it started with, like, that's where I first encountered this heating of my head, heating of my head, heating of my body. It's like radiation. It starts from your head. All of a sudden, your head gets so hot. Like, it gets so hot, hot, worse than fever, hotter than fever. I don't know if you have ever had fever, but it gets so hot, you know? And I know it's not like, oh, maybe I am in an early menopause or in a menopause phase of my life whereby I'm getting hot flashes. No, because I believe if you get hot flashes, hot flash will stay. Not if I do like this. If I move my body, shift my position, then it's gone. That's not hot flashes. This is an actual projectile that is being projected on me, and it's burning my head. And it was so intense that I couldn't sleep. So one day I also woke up in the bedroom, and the bedroom, mind you, the bedroom, I locked it with a key, and I put heavy luggages in front of it. And I don't believe there was any access with my naked eye that I can see that anyone would be able to come in. And then I woke up with an object next to my pillowcase. I'm like, how did this get here? I didn't put it there. So who was able to put this thing here? And they wanted me to see it. To tell me, like, what you are doing is childish, blocking the door and locking the door. I have power over you. I can access your space anytime I want. And that's putting fear in me as a single female living alone in a building. And obviously, they won, because ever since, I never slept in that bedroom. I always slept in the living room, and I wasn't making use of the bedrooms that I had. I had two-bedroom apartments. I was always afraid that somebody will come in and do whatever they want to me, and I wouldn't even know, because I might be drugged or whatever, you know? And so constantly living in fear. And then also, I had a bike in a general storage space, because I didn't have my own storage, um, where everybody parks their bikes. And every time I would go down, my bike would be flattened. every time. I will pump it up, and the bike is nothing wrong with it. A Dutch bike, I brought it from the Netherlands, and there's nothing wrong with the tires that it will automatically. No, somebody's actually deliberately airing the bike to flatten because they can't stand it. It's like sickness. And one day I got so upset with one of the neighbors because I knew those people in my corridor was doing it. And I suspected one of the guys who later joined the harassment party. And he was living opposite my flat. And I think he is like either Turkish, I don't know. He is an Arab, you know? And he was the one that was doing it because I think, oh yeah, I did something and he retaliated by emptying my tire. It was pumped and I had parked it, and guess again, when I went down, the tire was flat and they had spilled like drinks all over my bike and stuff, and I knew it was him. He was the one that was constantly flattening my tire. Because when I move on the bike, since they are always hiring people, certain types of people to follow me around, not everybody know how to bike. Only either Dutch people, or the Belgian people, local Belgian people. A lot of foreigners don't know how to bike. And they often tend to hire foreigners, low skilled foreigners, like old people or people with like kids, youth, to follow me around. And if I'm on a bike, it's more difficult for them to predict what route I will take. And I will be quickly gone before they can follow me. So that's why they started flattening my bike to delay me. That way I have to go up, get my pump the bike, go up again, and then come back and then take off. So that will be like a lot of time for them to station their people, their stalkers or flying monkeys, to follow me through the path that I'm going to take. And it got out of hand. April, I think 2 months in that I was living there, I was fed up. I was tired. I was not sleeping. And I told the landlord, I don't believe this place is what it's supposed to be. I believe that those people that are pretending to be a landlord, they are not landlords. I can literally hear microphone in the bathroom, in the toilet, that the microphone is hidden. It's making noise, and I can see holes, tiny, tiny holes in a new building. It shouldn't be possible. And I was telling him all of this, and obviously they make it out for you to sound like, no, you are just imagining things. It's not true. It's not there. But obviously it's stressing me out, and you are not going to debate with your abuser because the letting agent, they were hired. The landlord never gave me a bank account. The letting agent created a bank account. Another red flag, because they are not real people. It's an organization, and they don't want me to trace back to where that it's coming from. Because if I can trace the money, then I'll be able to find the culprit. So the letting agents was the one that was so-called the landlord, but they are actually not the landlord. And these so-called landlords are officially based in Nigeria, working for an NGO. And her name is Rima Park, and his name is Campanar. Campanar, like the same as the building, but with a slight change in the way you write it. Like too many weird things. And then I told them, in Belgium, when you take out the lease, it's you sign for either 3 years, 6 years, or 9 years. I took the 3 years version, and in the lease it says if you want to leave within the first 3 years, I think if it's within a year, you have to pay 3 months or 2 months deposits. Either way, it was like a staffel, and I told them I don't feel comfortable to continue with this lease because it's just 2 months in. I'm already experienced all these things. I can't sleep. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe in this place. Whenever I go out, somebody is actually coming in the flat. I can smell them when they make use of my sofa, everything. I can see footmark in my carpet and everything. So it was getting so I was getting so frustrated, and it was overwhelming. I was afraid. I wasn't sleeping. I slept like an average 3 hours a day. And up until this day, I am still not sleeping well enough because I'm constantly in fear of people coming into my space while I'm sleeping. And yeah, so 2 months in, I moved in April. So let's say May, June, I told them I want to break the lease, and we need to discuss it because I don't feel safe. And they even refused to change the locks, and everything. And then they accepted it. And later on, I think within the week that I said that I wanted to break the lease, he accepted it through message, WhatsApp. And within a week, I was thinking about him like, no, Linda, you did the same thing in Amsterdam. And now you are allowing them again to move you out again from another property. They have been doing this ever since this started. I have moved so many properties in London, in Amsterdam, in Belgium, you know? And I'm like, you keep doing the same thing over and over again, but nothing is changing. So why don't you stick it out? So then I went back to the letting agent. I told them, hey, I have changed my mind. I actually do not want to break the lease. And then he was like, you already have resigned. You broke the lease, so we can't accept you back. I'm like, if this was a good landlord, an honest landlord, they will tell you, oh, Linda, we're glad that you have changed your mind and that you want to give it a go. You know, just continue. But no, because these people are part of the harassment, targeting, and torture of my life and destroying of my life, they told me, no, you have to leave. And somebody, a Belgian person, told me, like, you don't have to leave. You can just stay and refuse to leave. They can't do anything about it. But, I have been playing by the rules my whole life. And I am just not that type of person. So when the time was right, I left and gave it back to them. And they held all my money. I had to pay 3 months deposit. They held all of it. I didn't receive a penny. And because of that, so I gave it up. I think I moved out in October because I had to give like 3 months notice. It was 3 months notice in the contract. So October, end of October, is when I became without a home. And in October, I think I stayed, like, I tried to leave and they were making everything impossible. I booked flights. I lost the flights, but I lost the money that I paid for flights because they were frustrating me at the airport with unnecessary things, which normal life would not happen. Like, how many struggles can one person go through in their life? Like a daily struggle, everything that you do it takes so much effort, so much energy to get anything done because somebody is constantly sabotaging you. Eventually, I managed to book a flight to Ghana, and then I left for Ghana because I was thinking maybe I should go and try to live in Ghana because I know what I did wrong last time, and maybe try to live as the locals in Ghana right now. Um, and once I arrived in Ghana, a whole lot of people followed me. An Indian guy, and I have seen him in that building that I was living in Amsterdam. I saw him at the airport with this rucksack, and another guy um, that followed me, like several. Even when I was going to get my visa at the embassy, there were only white people there. And it seems as if the person that was responsible for the embassy, he came out, he was waiting in his car. The moment I arrived there, he got out of his car as if he was waiting for me. So he was already notified of my coming, and it's not like the secretary or the average embassy worker. No, this is a high ranking diplomat was waiting for me in his car, and everything was orchestrated, and all of a sudden I'm surrounded by only white people in Ghana embassy. That's not normal. If you often go to Ghana, you will maybe see a handful of white people, and that's it. 20 of them will be black Ghanaians mainly. So all of a sudden, I am the only black person in this particular embassy, and everyone else is white. They are all getting visa to go to Ghana. And that's again another red flag. So when I arrived in Ghana, everything was orchestrated, I believe, with the help of the Ghanaian government or Ghanaian corrupt officials. And it was orchestrated to continue the torment, whatever they were doing to me in Ghana. And mind you, Africa, Ghana in this case, is a country whereby the average person is looking for a job. So if Westerners are coming, or Westerners in this case, I believe they sent the Indian guy there. The Indian guy was there, but he is not the main person. The main person is somebody who enjoys to torture me. He is the one that is heating up my head. He is the one that will be burning me with lasers. Particular part of my body will burn, literally burn. I even had scars from that I'm being burned with an object, and it left scars on my body. He is the one that loves it. So he's also always there. But he is the one that is always invisible because he has his foot soldiers who are doing the dirty job. I don't know what role the Indian guy is, but I believe he is also second in hand, after this original tormentor that they sent after me. So they were doing it. And then in Ghana, they hired a Ghanaian guy, and I know I can his face is like burnished or burned in my brain. I can literally, if I have to pick him out from a line, I can pick him out. I know who he is. And he was the one that was coordinating everything in Ghana because obviously they don't speak Twi and they don't know how to go about in Ghana. So there was a whole operation going on in Ghana. I was tormented in the hotel that I had initially booked, and eventually I left there, and then I went into a relative's house, and again there, because the relative had like two people that were living there, and these were like housemates and one other family member, and they were hired by this group of people. And this is what I mean, people will do anything in Africa. So if you are being targeted, be mindful to go to Africa because your targeting might either get worse, um, or you'll be followed with more people. I don't think they will go through the length as whereby people are mean here, but in Africa, they still Like it's different. I believe that they are a bit nicer. They are more respectable. They respect you more than they do here. Nobody respects me, but in Ghana, I noticed that people respect me. Even people that are part of the gangstalking, they want to make it more easy on me. So, but they will have more opportunity. Like if they spend $1 here or a euro here in Ghana, they for that euro maybe they can get 5 people. That's what I mean. And because of that, I didn't feel comfortable. I was planning on renting a place by myself, and then I was, your mind start then thinking. I started analyzing, like, what if I rent a place and this thing is happening? These people are introducing me to some people, like random strangers who are coming to my life, and they see, like, hey, this girl has nobody and she is being targeted by this group of white people. What does she have? Maybe there is something there. You know how Africans, they see opportunity, they are desperate. So I was thinking, what if these people will connect with other people with maybe an evil mindset and come after you? Some people are relentless. All they care about is money. And it scared me. And so I left. I left and I got back to the UK. I thought at least in the UK, the average person is law abiding. The average human being in the UK is law abiding. The average European is law abiding. We follow the law. And so I felt like, nah, Africa is too free. So I think I'll be better off being targeted in Europe than in Africa. Because anything, who knows, one day they might instruct or engage, hire the wrong person. And God knows what can happen. And I believe it happened in Amsterdam, actually. But anyway, so yeah, then I went to the UK and I connected with that family member that gave me a place to stay in that house. She is basically a relative from my grandmother's side, so my mother's mother. I believe she's like a distant cousin. And but we were close. I think we were close before my grandmother brought her. So my grandmother, my mother's mother, brought her to Europe. And you will think that means something. And she knows my mother. She knows my immediate family, basically. And she was part of my immediate family. And so she told me, yeah, come to where she's staying in the UK, and she will try to help me find a place to live, like a room to rent and stuff. So I got there, and then I was staying in a hotel, and she allowed me to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, all of a sudden, she tells me, like, no, why don't you come to my house? Because you are family. And I was thinking, this person has allowed me to waste. And mind you, UK, she lives in Luton, but the average prices for hotels in the UK, if I'm paying like average here, 130 a night, or, UK is like 170 and above. So 2 weeks, me spending time in in a hotels in the UK, and all of a sudden you ask me to come to your house. I thought it was very convenient. Why all of a sudden? Because if you were like trying everything in your power to get me a room with your so-called friend, and the friend was not willing and stuff, all of a sudden you ask me to join you as a family member. I would never had allowed her to stay in a hotel, but that's me. That's my story. Um, so why all of a sudden the change of heart? Because it seems like you were doing everything in your power to not allow me to stay in your house. So why all of a sudden? But anyway, I thought was, oh, okay. Well, at least I'm grateful, Um, at least I can stop wasting money in hotel because the money is draining. It's like water that is running, and there is nothing else that is backing it up. So at least at your place, I can try to build something. And she said that she had a spare room, but the spare room was being used by the cat, so I could use that room. Oh God, people. Hmm. I really hope nobody ever goes through this in their life. But this is my life story right now. And I know somewhere my mother is looking on all of this. And my mother was one of the greatest people, like so kind, helping. And a lot of people, especially my family members, have used her when she was alive. They have used her a lot. And now her child has gone through a situation and she needs help. But I leave everything to God. God sees everything. So either way, so I got a room there at her place and etc. And then everything was okay in the beginning. I think the first month was okay, and then all of a sudden she started changing. She started wanting to treat me as if I was the help, you know. And I'm like, I didn't come here to become the help. That is not me. We are not in Africa. Like as if my parents are not there, my parents have traveled, and I'm left to live with a family member, so they start mistreating you. I've had that experience before, but this is not Africa. We are in Europe, and I am not a child, that you can push around like that. So I refuse to behave that way. And she became so nasty, and her husband became very nasty, and her child became like suspicious, as if something was very fishy. So later on I found out that actually no, they were being bought. I found out first through the husband. I think his car got he was stopped by the police, and then they found out that he was driving without a UK license. He only has a Belgian license. And I think from there, that's how they got him, because I believe this majority, if it's not incentive like money, they will hold the law against you if you are somebody that has done something in your past, like you have some criminal thing that they can hold against you. That's how they get you to partake in this evil. So he was behaving so strange. I will be in the shower and their house is like poorly isolated. So you can hear, or is it insulated or isolated? I think it's insulated. You can hear everything. And then I will hear him walking, as if my room is next to the shower. So I can literally hear my door being opened. And then he will call out, oh, to his child, oh, are you calling me? And stuff. And then he will do that a couple of times within like less than 15 minutes time frame. And I found it so suspicious. I'm like, no, he's doing something in my room. And he's trying to make it seem as if, something else is going on. So I knew he was corruptible because that man is horrible. So I knew he would be the first one to be corrupted. But my cousin, I did not expect her to partake in it. But when she started behaving so viciously towards me, then I thought, like, no, she's resenting me for something. And these people can work on her to make her feel like, look how she's behaving. She feels like superior over you or whatever. They can talk things into her. And I think that is how they got her. So the moment they got her, the whole situation in that house changed, and they were becoming mean to me and stuff. And then I decided to leave. And that's how I packed up my things. I went to Amsterdam, and there was a guy who I met who came to clean the house that I was renting in Amsterdam. And I found that he was Ghanaian, so I connected with him, thinking that he was such a good guy, good man, honest guy. And I think probably from the beginning he was part of it, but I didn't realize because I always held him to a high esteem. I thought like he was like a selfless, loving, gentle man who wants to help me, you know. I was telling him about everything that I had been going through, with this stalking, this psychopath, because I didn't know that it was gang stalking and that it has something to do with government. So I was telling him everything about it and how I was feeling about it, how it has disrupted my life, and how it's difficult for me to live. And I have occasions where I feel so depressed that I even want to end my life because I don't know how to get out of it. You know, I've tried everything. Like I have shared my fears with him, I have shared my tears with him. So this time I get back, his house is occupied by a Ghanaian. No, I told you about the Ghanaians that were part of the operation in Ghana. This guy opens the door. I'm like, he looks familiar. And because I was staying in a hotel in the UK where my cousin lived, I saw this Ghanaian in a hotel. And he was always looking at me, you know, in the hotel lobby. And this guy reminded me of him. Like, no, I've seen you a couple of times in Luton, where my cousin lived. I've seen you a couple of times there. Is that the same guy? So then the man that I know as my network, he told me like, oh, yeah, this is Ben. He moved in recently. Like he moved in. He came from Dubai. He moved in like 3 months ago and stuff. You know, he's occupying a room that I was hoping to be able to rent from him. And I'm like, okay. I didn't think anything of it because I didn't think like the my network or the person that I trusted, this man, this Ghanaian older man, that he will be partaking in this kind of cruelty. I didn't expect him at all because I had him to a high esteem, like a very, very good person. So I I stayed in a hotel, and then he offered, like, actually, why don't you just come here and then we can all live together, because he has another tenant. He has like this female, vicious female tenant. She's vicious because she's like one of those jealous people, you know? I know she's vicious, but this time she was even more vicious than she's normally is. Um, and she has one room that she's occupying, and then the Ben character, the stalker, the gang stalker, he is occupying a storage room which has been converted to a bedroom. And he told me I can sleep on the sofa. So I'm like, yeah, that why not? I think for the time being, until I find a room, why not? You know, and mind you, back then I had some money left, to be able to rent out the room and stuff. Like I have everything calculated. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to do once I get to the Netherlands. I worked for organizations that were located in here, so I have some rights, you know. Um, and that's how I got back to the Netherlands. And living there, oh my God, I think the first week that I was there, I noticed, no, something is not right. They were showing me lots of signs. I was getting headache and stuff. And then things started happening. Something awful happened. I believe that I was drugged and raped while I was sleeping. That's a story for another time. I don't even want to think about it. Awful. But eventually I left that place, and I left and then I came to Belgium. That's why I ended up here again. So I have been through hell and back, and I am still going through hell. And yeah, now I'm in this position whereby I am homeless. And luckily, I got a break, so I still have some reserves left to be able to afford to live in a hotel. Otherwise, I would literally be sleeping in the street, and I don't even know how would I go about it. You know, I had a taste of it when I was coming to when I was coming from Luton. No, yeah, from Luton to to the Netherlands. Like I got to, was it Heathrow Airport? Yeah, I think I went to Heathrow Airport. I got to Heathrow Airport really early because I left my cousin's place. I wanted to leave there. I was feeling so unhappy. I had to leave. So I left really early. I think I left at 10 in the evening and my flight was 6 or something in the morning. So I got to the airport and then I slept on the sofa, those benches that they have at the airport. And I had a flash, my God, what if this becomes your life? You know, I was sleeping on the sofa. It was so cold. And I was trying to cover myself with my coat. And I was thinking about all those people that sleep on benches in the parks and other areas in the city. I mean, if you are from London, you know how it is with the homeless situation. Like I have literally seen people sleeping next to my offices where I worked in London. Awful. And I was thinking, this cannot be my life. In 2018, I was making six figures. And now I was working for the top tech companies. I have people in my network who are billionaires. I am not a billionaire, but I know people, I have worked for some of the best people in my network. And because somebody got offended by a Google review, they have taken it so far that they literally have destroyed my life. And it's not enough for me to lose my job. It's not enough for me to lose my family. It's not enough for me to lose my home. They continue. I think nothing will satisfy them ever. I believe even if I am dead, if I dare to commit suicide, sorry, this is social media. If I dare to unalive myself, even then they will find a reason to continue to destroy me. That's how far this is. That's how far it goes. And this is the story that I have been constantly telling. This person, it is so easy if somebody has a good heart, if somebody who is part of this evil organization is a sincere good person that believes in humanity. Don't look at my skin color, but that you are a sincere, genuine person. All you simply have to do is follow my tracks. Wherever I've lived, this person has lived above me. Wherever I go, this person has followed me. It's that simple. Follow my network, follow where I lived, follow the hotels I've stayed at, Follow the trail. That's how you will find out something is not right. So this is it. And this is what people call gangstalking. But it always starts with somebody who has the motive and the resources, because whoever is doing this, they are spending a lot of resources. And if it's a government that is doing it, for what exactly? Is it not easier to kill me then? Oh God. Is it not easier to unalive me then? I would think. It's cheaper. And I'm sure of all these people that you send after me, because majority are like, I'm not going to say it, but they are shady figures, you know? So either you are making money off me, of my misery, seeing me go through hoops, or it's an experimentation, but then experimentation for what? Some kind of a bio warfare? Or is it something that is out of this world? Have I seen something that I am not aware of, but you think I'm aware of? There's so many theories. Like, I don't know. I seriously don't know. That it's a lot to destroy somebody's life for what? For a Google review? A bloody Google review. Google review. And it's not even lies. If I do a review about you, like I'm saying, this hotel, it's amazing hotel, you know, that's fact. You can see it. It's clean. The people, the service is very good. Unlike the hotel I stayed at yesterday, you know, and the accommodation is nice. You don't have to pay me to say that. But if you are providing a shitty service, why shouldn't I be able, just like anybody else that also reviewed your company? You had -1 star rating on Google. So why is mine the worst? Or is it because my voice is black? And because of that, you have to retaliate that harshly, because how dare a black person dare to go against you, the royal? Or in this case, I don't know even if it's really the royal person that is doing it, because that would be so petty. Like, don't you have anything better to do? But yeah, his name is attached to it. All I know is old money, royal bloodline. So that's the story. And I know I'm disposable. I am insignificant in terms of people with money and power. But I'm also a soul. I'm a human being. I am a good person. I was building something to be able to enable the poor Africans an opportunity. A lot of you hate migration, that they are coming into your countries. You feel like migration is so horrible. They're taking your jobs, they're doing this, they're taking your money, they're taking your resources. But what if you fix Africa up, or all the poor countries where people are coming from? What if they had jobs over there? Do you really think that they will come here to do cleaning job, to do mediocre, menial jobs? They wouldn't. Because a lot of those people that are coming from, I know, at least I can speak of Ghana, a lot of Ghanaians in Ghana, they would not even dare to clean. What? They will laugh in your face. But if they come here, they will do it gladly. You know? So they wouldn't. If there were jobs in Africa, they wouldn't. Unless you fix that, you will always have migration problems. So that was what I was working towards to. And if because of that I'm an extremist, then so be it. I do not want to see my people that look like me, to see them drowning in the Mediterranean Sea. It hurts me. And that was my main goal of starting a company with Africa focus. I want to see something better. I want to see children in Africa to be able to have, even if they had one third of what people in Europe have, I'll be happy. But they don't. So if that makes me a terrorist, then I'm gladly. So if that is because of that, the government of the UK, the government of the Netherlands, the government of Belgium are portraying me to be the future terrorist, then I will not apologize for it. If it comes to Africa, I am unapologetic. I want Africa to do better. I want to see a good Africa with equal rights, the same privileges that we have over here. That every African child should have that. That's what I want. That is the reason that I'm on this planet. If I can contribute to that, why not? But you are sabotaging me to build on my dreams. Right now, I have spent the whole day in the city walking around because I don't know which hotel to book. Walking around, and eventually I got so depressed that I did shopping. Money I don't have. You see what I'm going to eat. That's dinner. And I know these people are watching me because yesterday I shot this vlog and they don't allow me to post it. I don't even know if I will be able to post this. But they block me because I'm speaking truth. I'm telling the truth. I have been telling the truth for 5 years, and I know nobody cares. The average person don't care about the struggles of other people. Everybody's very selfish. All they care about is their own welfare and well-being, and that is why on oh my god, and this is why unequality. What is the other word for unequal society? Anyway, what I'm trying to say is this is why we have poor people versus rich people and middle class. But and a few of us who wants to actually do good, see good happen in the world, we are being destroyed because there are a few who wants to keep the status quo. And this is why I'm being targeted. This is why I'm being sabotaged. They see something in me bigger than me, and they're sabotaging my life so that I will never be able to achieve those dreams, those goals. Because right now, I don't focus on building something sustainable that will benefit Africa. I focus on trying to escape gangstalkers, people who are following me, people who are paying extra attention to me. Even if I will meet a guy who find me maybe attractive. I think somebody said today while I was passing by, "Oh, you are so beautiful, knop," like in Dutch. I don't see that anymore because in my mind somewhere like, oh, he must be part of this group of stalkers. I don't even think I will ever be able to date again in my life unless I am liberated from this. So yeah, I'm trying to do a vlog and I really hope I can get to it. But the thing is, I have a lot going on my mind. Right now, my day exists of like today, I've only booked this room for a day. Yesterday, I had a terrible room. That was also for a day because it's weekend. Friday and Saturdays is the most expensive part of staying in hotels. It's Friday and Saturdays, like what you will normally pay for, like what I will normally pay for, like 5 days. I pay that in just 2 days. So it's ridiculously expensive. And that's why I just book it. So tomorrow the prices will be lower. And then I will try to book another stay. I've been thinking of going somewhere else, like fuck Belgium, go try another place. But to be honest, it scares me. I don't know. I was even thinking because I saw some vlogs about Thailand and Bali, and then the experience that I had from the other hotel has put another fear in me. So that hotel is owned by, I think, people from Bali or Thailand, and like, oh my God, somebody actually went to that room to put his feces, to leave it behind just for me to discover. And I was thinking, if somebody can do that here in Europe, imagine if I go to one of those places abroad, like I told you, in countries where people have to struggle to make an ends meet. How far are they willing to go? And I don't know what these people are telling people about me. I don't know what stories they are telling them, but it can never be good because a lot are going in for it. And I can't imagine that all of them are doing it for the fact that they are law abiding citizens. Either you enjoy to see other people suffer, you are a narcissist, a psychopath, a sociopath, who or an opportunist. Those are the people that they are able to reach. I'm sure they will never be able to, even in this situation. Nobody will be able to come to me to do that to my fellow human being, no matter what color you are, you know? Nobody will be able to do that. Like even an official, a police officer or some chief inspector of the police come to me and say, you must do this. Why should I do that to another human being? What evidence do you have? Oh my God, did you see that? Something just flashed by the screen. Very strange. What evidence do you have? So I don't get it. How? But, I mean, it has taught me a lot. The C19, C 2019 that we don't talk about, the pandemic, taught me a lot also about majority of humans. And I guess this is also why I am being outcasted, because I don't normally fit into that mold of the average majority of group of people. I never fitted in anywhere. Even within my own family, I was always the unicorn, the outcast. So COVID or the pandemic taught me how a lot of people would just do anything that they are being told without thinking, without doing their own research or collecting evidence. That is scary. That is really scary. And I can imagine a time when people were so easily persuaded, which caused the world to fight among themselves not so long ago. It's very scary. when you blindly follow orders. You are not in the military. Even if you are in the military, you have to question everything. It scares me because it seems like we as human beings don't learn anything. History is there, but people follow blindly what others tell them. You don't have a mind of your own. You just follow blindly. But yeah, maybe it's also something to do with me. And after all, they say that black women are so, what's that word, defiant. I don't believe I'm defiant. God gave me a brain, logic, and opportunity to share or experience wisdom, to gather wisdom and knowledge. And we should all be able to do that. So, all those people that are partaking in this evil, know that every tear that I shed is becoming part of you. Every struggle, every minute that I lie awake thinking, every depression that I get, and the depressions is getting more and more nowadays, that it's part of you. It's a stain that will stay with you for the rest of your life. And it's not only you, it's your generation following, because you are committing the ultimate sin. Even if you are not a believer, there are laws of nature. What goes up must come down. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Do not forget that. You think right now you are invincible, but think about every single serial killer out there. What happens to all of them? They always get caught because you will leave trails. You think you are God in my life right now. This will not last forever. Also, this will end one way or the other. And I know, if God is my witness, that you will get what you have done to me. Everything you have done to me has been done to you 1,000 times over. So, everybody that is partaking on it, bear that in mind. It will come back to you. So, I end this vlog today, and hopefully, I get a chance to post it. And I will aim to post more often on this journey of my homeless existence.